New Canggu Road targeted for completion by New Year's. Good news for those of you that like hanging out in Canggu. And concerns arise about the new Diaspora visa. Stay tuned for details. Welcome to the latest news from Bali and Indonesia. Selamat siang. And if you're an American, I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving, if you're celebrating Thanksgiving. All right, what about the weather? Well, it is hot again, 32 degrees Celsius and 71% humidity. Wind speed is 8.4 kilometers per hour, and it is getting gustier and gustier. It was really windy yesterday, and I'm expecting it's going to be windy again today. So we have a lot of interesting news today, and let's get into it. First off, let's talk about the new Canggu Road. The new Canggu-Tibubeneng Road is under construction. Sayonara traffic jams in the new year. So the new road at the intersection in North Kuta district, Badung, Regency, has been under construction since early in this month. The Badung Regency government is optimistic that the new through road can be completed before New Year's. The road will be 332 meters long and 8 meters wide, and it was located at Simpang Padonan in Tibubeneng. And this is, according to this article, one of the worst traffic jams in North Kuta. According to a spokesperson, he explained that the road project is using APBD funds of 6.2 billion rupees, and that includes the construction of roads and for tourists as well. And the other day, when this article was written, people were at work. Tourism activities in Barawa and in Canggu area, as you know, have continued to explode over the last few years, and along with that, incredible traffic problems. The shortcut, the Canggu shortcut, well, is infamous for being on so many videos and so many photographs of hundreds of people just lined up there waiting to get through, and of cars and motorbikes that have fallen off the road into the Sawa. And so this is supposed to alleviate these problems, these traffic jams, because, well, right now it seems like most people want to go to Canggu, and so if you've got bad roads, that's not a good thing for Bali tourism, of course. The sub-coordinator for road and bridge construction at the Badung PUPR service, Iputu Putra, admitted that land acquisition has been difficult because there are a number of residence buildings and homes affected, a total of 2,623 square meters of land area that's been impacted. He said there's 13 plots of land that have been affected. We've been able to overcome social obstacles with the support of community leaders in the area. Government support from the head of the environment to the sub-district head has also helped so that this project can run. And so if you are planning on coming to Bali for New Year and you want to go hang out at what is advertised as the largest beach club in the world, well, road conditions may be better by then. Let's hope so. I'm not really a person that wants to hang around with 9,999 of my best friends, but I guess there are a lot of people that do. And so, more and more business goes to Canggu. And we'll do some updates on that as the construction of the road progresses. Let's see if they are going to, in fact, get it done before New Year's. Let's hope so. And on to the second main story. Diaspora welcomes new visa, but not the cost. Okay, there are some concerns about this new Diaspora visa. And the government has recently issued, according to the Jakarta Post, a new visa making it easier for former Indonesian citizens to visit the country and to stay longer as part of its move to bring immigrants home and utilize their skills to help build the nation. Members of the Indonesia diaspora, especially those who have lost their citizenship, welcome the new visa, allowing them to more easily return home. But people have pointed out that the requirements are rather stringent. And this seems to be in line with the new visas and the new prices. For example, the retirement visa, the old person's visa, right? I'm one of those people. Up to $3,000 a month, $3,000 a month. And so there are some financial requirements here that some Indonesians, at least, or former Indonesians, feel are rather excessive. The Diaspora visa was introduced by the Immigration Director General on this past Thursday. It grants an immediate permit to stay in the country for 5 or 10 years to former Indonesian citizens. The new visa will streamline the permit process, which usually requires applicants to secure a guarantor. Immigration Director General Bakarim said the visa was part of the government's effort to support the country's economy. Members of the Indonesian diaspora who want to contribute to the country have been hindered in the past by policies or absence of policies to help them come back to their homeland. Pak Silmai said in a statement on Thursday that the visa could help Indonesian immigrants who now hold foreign citizenship feel that Indonesia is also their home, and thus bringing about a sense of belonging to the country once again. To apply for the visa, an applicant must fulfill several requirements: proof of living expenses and a statement of commitment through the purchase of government bonds, shares, or mutual funds in Indonesian public companies, or savings worth $35,000. The statement of commitment can be submitted within 90 days after arrival in Indonesia. The applicants also need to submit documents proving that they were previously an Indonesian citizen. An old passport, I guess, would work. Prior to the Diaspora visa, former Indonesian citizens needed to require a limited stay visa. But as one person interviewed for this article said, $35,000 is a huge amount of money for us. She works as a project accountant overseas, and similar sentiment was shared by members of the Indonesian Diaspora Network Global, who said that the visa was best suited for investors given the hefty financial commitment. One member said that he owns an import-export business in South Korea. He thought that the investment requirement would actually deter potential members of the diaspora from applying. He said, for us entrepreneurs, our money moves around a lot and we don't actually need an extensive stay permit. We should get tax breaks or other incentives if the country hopes to use us to bolster the economy. Other people interviewed for this article said that the new visa is a good start and hopefully there will be developments in it in the coming years. The new visa is based on similar policies introduced by several countries with diaspora-related visas, such as India, Ireland, and Portugal. Pak Silmai cited the Overseas Citizen of India program, which provides people of Indian origin multiple entry, multi-purpose, and lifelong visas to the country and rights to own property and invest in the country. He said, we need to imitate such a good policy and mustn't waste the potential of the Indonesian diaspora so that they can return and contribute to the country. He said that the overseas Indonesian population is around 6 million citizens spread across 60 countries. Wow. The government's data shows that the countries with the highest concentration of Indonesians are Malaysia, Singapore, Australia, Saudi Arabia, the Netherlands, and the U.S. And so this seems to be a good start. The $35,000, I agree, is a lot if you are working overseas and you're not making a lot of money. And we'll have to see whether members of the Indonesian diaspora are going to take advantage of this new visa. Now, you may remember, was this last week or 2 weeks ago, when I was talking about the problem with the Sekumpul Waterfalls and people complaining about having to pay 300,000 rupees for a tour that they didn't want. Well, more news on that. And what about it? Sekumpul Waterfall flooded with negative comments. After the viral video of expensive tickets for the Sekumpul Waterfall tourist attraction in Buleleng, public confidence has decreased. The number of viewers looking for information regarding the waterfall is dropped on social media, and a number of negative comments regarding visitor dissatisfaction have also begun to flood social media channels. A number of problems triggered by chaotic governance and unhealthy competition in order to enter the waterfall has resulted in many protests from netizens. There are those who claim to only buy an entrance ticket for $20,000, but without buying another package, they're only allowed to see the waterfall from a viewpoint provided by the manager. In other words, they can't get too close. Visitors who only bought the entrance ticket admitted that they weren't even allowed to bathe or splash in the waterfall. Other netizens commented that visitors with ID cards outside of Bali are required to use the services of a tour guide. The head of Buleleng Tourism Service, Govt, confirmed on this past Tuesday that he did not deny that new visitor complaints have been emerging after a viral video of expensive tickets was uploaded by a content creator. However, there are also those who had reviewed the waterfall with negative comments even before the video went viral. Govt said, "We've thought about and planned several strategies after this incident in order to restore the image of tourism in Buleleng. Currently, we are in the process of improving the management of the waterfall, Sekumpul Waterfall and Fiji Waterfall." He said, "We're looking for the right formula so that the future will be better." He said he realized that repairing the tarnished image of tourism was not easy. He said it would take quite a long time to restore that image. Apart from improving tourism governance, the Buleleng Tourism Department also plans to invite content creators who make expensive tickets viral to come and explore the waterfall under the new guidelines. He said, "We'll continue to carry out supervision and guidance in the future together with stakeholders so that improvement in the governance can be felt directly by the visitors." I'm not sure how much this has affected the image of tourism in Buleleng. It's probably upset a number of people, but does that mean that it's going to stop people from coming up here? I don't know that it's that bad, but what do you think? Has this bothered you? Would this keep you from coming up to Buleleng, this controversy about what was going on with the having to buy a tour in order to go see the waterfall? I don't know. Let me know. I passed by there the other day, and I did see a number of tourists getting out of cars to go visit. So, who knows? On to a regular feature here, garbage, trash. Kuta Traditional Village responds to piles of garbage on Kuta Beach Road, says TPS3R hasn't been built by Badung Regency government. The Kuta Traditional Village argued that piles of rubbish occurred because of problems sending rubbish to the Suwung TPA in Denpasar, right, where there were the fires. Piles of rubbish also occurred because Kuta, which is a tourist destination, does not yet have an integrated waste management site for reduce, reuse, recycle, TPS3R. So, even though this has been questioned again, they've asked to have this taken care of by the Badung government, but as of this point, it has not happened. So even though the local authorities have asked the Badung district government to provide these facilities to take care of trash, nothing has happened yet. The Kuta Traditional Village head, Pakoman Alit Ardana, admitted that there were piles of trash on the sidewalk in Jalan Pantai Kuta. This is one of the impacts of the absence of TPS3R in the Kuta area, he said. So we don't have any place to throw our trash, he said. And secondly, the truck that we are using to transport our trash to Suwung, well, it can't do it 3 times a day because of all the traffic jams, and so it can only do it once a day. Therefore, we got excess trash. He said because of the bad conditions with the trash being out and tourists passing by, he's going to try again to get the Badung government to take care of the situation. He said, "I will immediately coordinate with PUPR, Public Works and Spatial Planning Service. We hope that it will be given to the village to build TPS3R as of our previous request. The land considered to be used as TPS3R is behind Padang Seni Cemetery, Jalan Bypass Nurai, Tuban Village." Okay, if you're in Tuban, you got to get some trash over there. And Pak Alit has also been coordinating with the Tuban traditional head. He said, so in the future, Joint management can be carried out between the two villages so that there's a solution for both of them. He said, we don't want this to become a sectoral problem. He said, let's work together on this. The important thing is to get the waste problem taken care of. So this is another case of a local authority, local government, village government, asking the district government for help to do something and having to wait, maybe because it's going through some bureaucracy, maybe there's not funding. It doesn't say in this article, but this is definitely not good for tourism to pass a huge pile of trash right there on the beach road. Not the most pleasant sight to see if you're out wandering around with your family. So let's hope this gets taken care of. And continuing problems with trash. When is the government going to be able to work out some integrated management for waste removal? Well, of course, don't forget your $150,000 that you will be paying in February to come into Bali is supposed to be used, right? Up to 70% of that being used for waste management. Just have to wait and see how that works out. And more on rabies, right? Because there are a lot of stories about rabies this week, and I'm just doing one here, and this one is about NTT, okay, not here in Bali per se. Government aims for 70% rabies vaccination coverage in NTT. The coordinating minister for Human Development and Culture, Pakafendi, on Tuesday said the government is targeting rabies vaccination coverage of more than 70% of the dogs in East Nusa Tenggara, NTT. This is in order to achieve herd immunity. He said vaccination realization so far is only around 17% because vaccines are limited, and second, the operational cost for carrying out the vaccinations is high. He said that the ministry will make sure that once vaccines are distributed, 70% of the dogs in NTT will be vaccinated. Currently, there's an easier type of vaccine, this is interesting, namely a pill that can be given orally, which can be put in animal food, especially for dogs, so take it. And if you've tried to get dogs to take pills, well, that can be a problem. Effendi said that large-scale vaccinations will soon be carried out in NTT under the control and coordination of the National Disaster Mitigation Agency, BNPB. According to him earlier, there were many cases of rabies in Bali, and the number of patients who died, however, very small compared to the number of bites because the vaccination program is working relatively well here, according to this article. Because the health minister has recommended that for rabies, don't take a curative approach carrying out treatment after being bitten. Instead, go out and vaccinate the dogs so that they are not transmitting rabies. Earlier in August, you might remember, the Australian government provided 400,000 doses of rabies vaccine to the Indonesian government to address the outbreak here in Bali. Of the 400,000, 200,000 were used for vaccinations in Bali. The remaining 200,000 were used to handle rabies in the West Timor area of NTT. Vaccinations there started in July of this year. And on to health, and health here in Buleleng. Everything is ready. Buleleng Hospital's Cath Lab works. Rupiah's 16 billion is waiting for operational permits. So Buleleng Regional Hospital is awaiting operational permission for the catheterization laboratory from the Ministry of Health. Currently, the building and medical equipment are ready, but they can't operate yet because they don't have a permit. Buleleng Regional Hospital's Cath Lab facility utilizes a former emergency unit. It's a 341 square meter building arranged in such a way that it meets standards, and the equipment is, as I said, worth 16 billion, and it's ready to be used, just needs a permit. According to Director of Buleleng Regional Hospital, Dr. Putu, he said that the Cath Lab would be used to install a heart ring. This facility can also be used to examine blood vessels in the brain for stroke sufferers. According to him, before operating, they have to get permission from the Ministry of Health because the service uses radiation. He said he hopes that permission will be granted and they will be able to start in December. Online-based permit processing is already underway. Aside from preparing the infrastructure, Buleleng Regional Hospital has also prepared 2 specialist doctors who will be able to carry out the procedures. This is Dr. Kiki, who's a heart specialist, and Dr. Lu Putu, who is a brain intervention specialist. Ooh, good. And so good news for people that need medical help up here in Buleleng. Okay, and let's wrap up with some tourism news. 4 foreign airlines to increase flights to Bali, airport says. 4 international airlines from China, India, and the UAE will add more flights to Bali to cater to a growing demand for visiting the island of the gods. Gusti Ngurah Rai Airport General Manager Bakhandi said that additional flights will be a great drive for Bali to attract more foreign tourists. Let's bring in all those people. One of the 4 will be the China-based Xiamen Air, which has applied for additional flights starting on December 1st. Etihad Air and Indigo have also submitted applications for additional flights starting in early 2024. According to Bakhandi, this is evidence that the market in Bali is still strong, as there are also several airlines planning to change their aircraft type to larger sizes. Bakhandi mentioned that Emirates intends to add more flight slots to the Airbus 380, the airline's signature double-decker aircraft. Emirates began operating its A380 to Bali June 1st, which the airline lauded for its long-standing commitment to the country's travel and tourism sector. And they will also be studying the demand for the possibility of deploying the Super Jumbo Jet to Soekarno-Hatta Airport in Jakarta. Currently, 36 airlines operate at Gusti Ngurah Rai Airport, servicing 30 international flight routes and 13 domestic flights. The airport serves 65,000 daily passengers on the average. Bakhandi said the airport hopes to expand its capacity to accommodate growing traffic, but they're currently lacking the funds to carry out this expansion plan, but he said he hopes that it will happen in the near future. According to Statistics Indonesia, BPS data, 3.9 million international tourists have visited Bali during the first 9 months of the year. More than 99% of those international tourists arrived via the airport. This year, the government set a target at between 4 and 4.5 million visitors. Despite the figure, this year's target remains below the pre-pandemic level of 4.6 million that was recorded in the same period during 2019, right? Pre-pandemic period. And so, getting more and more people coming in. And of course, there are questions about this continuing construction going on around the island, despite the fact that a number of political figures have called for a halt to this quite a long time ago this year, earlier this year. Ibu Megawati, former president of Indonesia, and Pak Koster, the former governor of Indonesia, both called for a stop on construction. But if you travel around the island at all, you see construction going on everywhere. Huge, huge projects. My wife and I were down in Denpasar last week, along with my granddaughter Zoe, and we saw some enormous project. It was huge. I guess a hotel or villas, I don't know what, but some more green land plowed under. Okay, that's it for today. It is Friday. Hope you have a great weekend. If you're here in Bali, hope you're having a good time. Still not a lot of rain up here in Buleleng. Some rain a little bit here and there, but we haven't really gone into full blast yet, and so we're just waiting to see how that's going to work out. Thanks for viewing. Be kind to someone today. Stay safe, and I will see you next time.